Hey y'all, welcome back to the Outer World Media channel. My name is Austin. As always, I appreciate y'all stopping by to check out my videos. If this is your first time, hit the like button, subscribe. Today, guys, we're reviewing Louis L'Amour's Sitka. We'll start off by saying I enjoyed this book, so kind of giving you the quick synopsis of this book. So Sitka is about this character. His name is John LaBarge. We start off with John as a kid living in the swamps. I believe it's of Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. It might be somewhere else. But he's in the swamps, and him and his buddy come across some outlaws or bandits or whatever. They end up getting John locked up in like this cabin. The other kid escapes, gets back to town, kind of tells what's going on, even though he knows he's going to be in trouble, tells everybody kind of makeshift posse is formed, and they head out to go get these guys because the kids have heard that they're planning like a holdup and kind of like assassination type of thing of a captain of a ship that's over that direction. So, we see that go down, and then we fast forward a little bit, and then we see that John has, gone on a ship. He's gone out in the world. He's helped, he's fought Indians. He's sold furs. Yeah, he's gold mine. He's done some mining for gold. He's done just about everything. And so John ends up, I believe it's in San Francisco. And that's kind of where our story really starts, is John's in San Francisco. He's wanting to get up to Sitka, Alaska. He's heard, all these stories about Alaska, and he's done some investigative work of Alaska. I mean, he's talked to anybody and everybody, even the drunks, and Louis Lamour says it in here best. He'll sit there and listen to drunks rave on and on about Alaska just because he wants information. Even if he has to listen to other crap, he's still going to sit there and listen to him because information is information for him. He can kind of piece together, after talking to enough people, he can get an idea of what might be true and what might not be. Sorry, I can't speak today. So essentially, John ends up striking up a deal with this gentleman who's kind of like a higher-up official in the Russian government. I forgot to mention, Russia does own Alaska at this point in time. So we see John try to get, a foothold to get in up to Alaska, because not just anybody can go up to Alaska, because Russia will arrest you and send you to like a prison camp, work labor camp, whatever you want to call it. So John does get that thing, and we kind of get introduced to the bad guy of the story, who happens to be a Russian fella. And so this story is essentially about John and, his many attempts to go to Alaska, and just kind of how doing this over time, the events that lead up to essentially U.S. is trying to buy Alaska, and John plays a pivotal part in that. So we kind of see all the events that happen in between there. As always, there is a love interest in this story. I've said it before, I don't mind love interests in Louis L'Amour stories. I really don't mind them. That's not why I'm there, but I know there's going to, be a love interest there. This one was a little different because the love interest in this, she is married to another man, and John realizes he's in love with her, but he realizes, what, I shouldn't be, but I am. And we kind of see this, flame grow bigger between them and whatnot, the flame of love, whatever you want to call it. We kind of see it, and there's, a conversation that they have where, essentially she tells John, I'm sorry, but I'm married. And he goes, I know. He goes, I can't love you, and I shouldn't, but I do. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. I wish you the best of luck. But throughout all that, and eventually John does have to lead her, because she is related to the Tsar, I believe is how you pronounce it, of Russia and whatnot. So she's got some higher up relatives in the political world or dynasty of Russia. So she is a very important character in this story as well. But again, guys, Sitka, should you read it? Yes, I would say so. It's a nice change of pace. Sorry, my nose keeps itching for whatever reason. It's a nice change of pace for a Louis L'Amour book. What I mean by that, it's kind of got your typical, Western cliche for Louis Lamour. You have your love interest, you have your really good guy, and then you got your bad guy, and you might have a couple smaller people that might help along the way. So you kind of get some of those motifs or cliches that Louis Lamour has in some of his westerns, but instead of being in the West, he moves it over to like an adventure story, which was really nice. Like this, I could see Louis L'Amour have doing this in like a short story or a novella, but he turned it into a full-fledged book, and I really enjoyed that. This is definitely one I would highly recommend. Just because it's a little bit of a change of pace, but you still, like I said, you get your cliches that come with Louis L'Amour books. You get a little bit of ship battle and whatnot. You get some fighting in there and whatnot. This is just, overall, it was a great book. It was a really good book. I really wish Louis L'Amour would have written a couple more stories that weren't necessarily Western, that were more just kind of adventures like this. And I know he does, and I haven't read them yet. But I just wish he had as many of those as he did Westerns. But hey, you know what? That's just a little nitpick. I'd give this book a 4 out of 5. I mean, it's a good book. It's not my favorite Louis L'Amour book, but it's definitely a good book. I would highly recommend picking this up, as I would any other Louis L'Amour book. I don't think there's ever going to be a book by Louis L'Amour that I'm not going to recommend y'all pick up. So again, guys, Sitka by Louis L'Amour. Should you pick it up and read it? Yes, I highly recommend it. As always, guys, I appreciate you stopping by to watch my video. Thank you.